Welcome to Matinee Heroes CastOFF semifinals. We are in the thick of it. Welcome to the show. My name is Craig Price. I will be your host through these playoffs, and we've got a good one for you. But before we even begin, let's talk about how we got here. And of course, by doing that, we'll take a look at the bracket. Last week, the great Tracy Mangum from Movies That Make Us went up against Brian Guanajuato from the Bri-Fi Comic Podcast, and I have to say that Brian had a little bit of a problem. He kind of tripped over himself as he forgot who he was casting. He at least forgot the name, and then he forgot who the woman was, because when we started to talk about her, he picked the name he sent me was Orange Was the New Black Star, and he was thinking of the young lady who does Discovery, Star Trek Discovery. I don't have their names available either, but Tracy Mangum came along and just walloped Brian. Though Brian did a great job with his recasting, it was hard to beat Tracy because Tracy was definitely on point. And if you're new to the podcast, if you're new to the cast-off, which is going to be odd coming in right here at the semifinals, this is the show where we take some of your favorite actors and recast them in some of your most beloved movies. And let's talk about our superstars of today. I even got the special... the playoff music.
That was nice.
In this corner, we've got Patrick Beatty from Patrick Beatty Reviews. And in this corner, the lovely Valerie Cameron from A Plethora. But today, she is going to be representing the Multiplane podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my two guests who actually have somewhat of a, I don't want to say a sordid past, because that'll be in the wrong spot. But you guys have you guys have had a history with each other. And you can tell it's going to be one of those days.
You make it sound so bad. We were best friends. That's why we were working together.
So you worked together.
Working for Valerie. Yes, I was with her. Worked for the Pride Festival.
It was his fault because I posted on social media that I needed an assistant, somebody to come and learn my brain and become a better me. I said, come learn everything I know and then take over, because I owned my own business at the time. And I said from the beginning, you're going to think it sounds like fun, and then you're going to get in it and you're going to regret the decision that you made, because when you get into events, my company was an events company. I did festivals. It's a lot of work that you have to do. And he did the Pride Festival with me when I did Utah Pride Festival. And we did some other small projects. He basically did whatever production I needed for my production company. And I put him to work. I put him to task. He worked his butt off.
What kind of boss is Valerie, Patrick?
So Valerie is the type of boss that trusts that you're going to get the job done the way she wants it done.
Hands off.
Very much. Hands off, but also very good at giving you the right amount that you need to get the job done. Like, for instance, with Pride Festival, there was always little stuff that, just kind of was like, we have to do this right now, go. And there's no time to talk, let's get it done. And like Valerie said, you have to have the same kind of wavelength on that. So it was a crash course, but crash courses usually give you the most knowledge moving forward, and that's what I got from this. And that's why I'm here today, to kick her. I'm just kidding.
Well, let's talk to you guys as individuals. Patrick, this will be I think this is your fourth time.
She kicked
on
me
the
out
show?
the first time. She beat me the first time.
Right. You're one of the few individuals that has been on. You were on the regular season twice, but that was back when I was stupid, and I'm like, let's bring 3 people on. And then you realize I looked at my Rolodex and realized I don't know enough people to bring 3 people on at each time. Let's go with 2. And since you were the middle player, I figured I'd just pull you out, let you play again if you'd like, and just whoever was number 3 was the loser. You were scrubbed from history.
Well, that shot gave me more. You gave me a taste for it.
So I think that that might help you. And Tracy also has been on. It was also in one of those 3-person episodes that tanked. So what's been going on with Patrick Beatty Reviews?
Oh, we've still got our reviews coming out. It's funny. A lot of the films, obviously, we know everything is locked down, and a lot of the big box office movies aren't out. But I got to be at Sundance, and there's still a lot of films that were at Sundance that were picked up that are coming out right now. So it's fun to keep dropping those reviews and talking about the stuff like Palm Springs or Uncle Frank that's coming out soon. And Gaggle of Geeks, we're still doing our weird stuff.
And then we'll move on to, now Valerie, you have, we've got you focused on the Multiplane podcast. That is your Disney-oriented one. And they just dropped a bombshell today about Mulan.
Yeah.
So
Mulan this is something I didn't want to happen, and we're going to talk about it Thursday on the podcast, is that Mulan is going to be released on Disney Plus. You can rent it for $29.99, no matter if you have, if that's on top of your subscription. But this is a movie that was made for the big screen, and I want to see it so badly, but I do not think I'm going, and I want to support it, but I don't think that I want to see it not on the big screen first. So I either have to find someone with the biggest screen ever in their house, and I need to give them treats and money and go watch it over there, or I need to wait. So I'm still not sure what I want to do yet, but we'll talk about that on Thursday at 3:30. We're also going to talk about one of my favorite Disney animated movies, Tarzan.
Oh, there you go. So the Multiplane podcast, you're on Movies That Make Us, which Tracy is going to be representing next week. And then you're on Seemingly Inspirational or Seemingly Interesting. What's the name of it?
Seemingly Appropriate podcast.
See, I knew it was...
People think that I'm a really appropriate person because of what I do for a living, and so I don't usually get to talk about... Yeah, I know. You know me, so... I don't
think I've met that person.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously on B98.7, and when I worked for Disney, and when I'm professional, I am a very appropriate person. But I do like to talk about serious topics. And today we actually had Marshall Moore on the show, and we talked very frankly about how Utah needs to get their act together and get more film incentives, tax incentives for Utah, because we are losing big projects left and right. We just lost Yellowstone, and he works with the Utah Film Studio, which now cannot get any more big projects until the next fiscal year, because they already kicked Yellowstone out of Utah. They're going to Montana for the rest of their shooting, and so until that tax incentive comes back, it's going to be all independents, which is fine, but that's not what keeps $30 million a year in our state. So
I was in Texas when they did the exact same thing. If only the politicians understood business. I mean, I don't want the state run as a business, because you don't need that. But if you're going to make business rules, I'd like some business people involved. But speaking of rules, let's get on to the game and the rules, which have not changed. They're still pretty good. They're still solid. I'm going to give a character. In this case, we're going to give an actual Muppet, and you're going to give me a human being. Whoever is the best choice gets a point. If for some reason you pick my secret selection, you get an additional point. So you have a possibility to get 2 points for each one. Odds are you won't, but if you do. And also, just because you get the best choice or you get the correct selection doesn't mean you'll get best choice. I have had that split happen before, where someone, yes, it does happen from time to time, someone outpicked me and I thought their pick was better than mine. If the person with the most points wins, and I want to thank past playoff participant Rob Irvin. He helped judge today, as well as Brendan Agnew. Both of them will be on the podcast in August. Brendan Agnew will actually be on in about a week or so, talking about Escape from New York, and Rob Irvin will wrap up August talking about Unforgiven on the Matinee Heroes podcast. And of course, if for some weird, strange reason there is a tie, we will do a double feature to win. I've got my lucky Jurassic Park logo Lego bottom that I will flip like I did for the first two games. You both have been involved in tiebreakers this playoffs, which is unusual. So you know how this works. So hopefully you have some double features ready to go. Are you guys ready for your movie?
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I just want to make sure you're ready. Before we get to that, this Saturday is Alan's birthday. Alan is a Leo, and he will be, I think he's going to be 51, maybe 52. I think he's 51. And we did one of his favorite movies, Angels with Dirty Faces. Jimmy Cagney actually couldn't find this one streaming anywhere. We had to actually buy copies of it and accidentally bought bootleg copies. We didn't know when we ordered it. So if you want to hear that, you can go to matineeheroes.com and subscribe to the podcast. If you like the video show, the CastOFF, even though we're getting close to the end of this season, you can still head over to matineeheroes.com/CastOFF and subscribe. So let's get on to one of my favorite movies. I had the soundtrack as a kid. I just love literally every single thing about this movie, The Muppet Movie. And this one is going to be different because we're actually taking actors and replacing Muppets with the actors. So usually we do the exact opposite. We'll take an actor and say, what Muppet would you like? This one's going to be harder. So let's start off with of course, everybody's favorite Muppet, Kermit. Kermit is the leader of the gang. He's multi-talented. He can play the banjo. He can sing. He can dance. He can host. He's a good MC. If I could sing and dance, I wish I could be like Kermit, but I can only do one thing. Of all the things Kermit does, I can only MC, and even that's mediocre. So we will start with Patrick. Patrick, iconic leading man. Who are we going to go with to replace Kermit the Frog?
Well, hey, when it comes to Kermit, I have to say, I had to make you repeat what the structure of this is 3 times in the chat because I just did not understand it. So I think when it comes to Kermit... I think
you didn't want to understand it. I don't think that. I think you just didn't want to do this.
Well, I think I understood it at this point because I was thinking banjo, hosts, someone that has the comedic chops and can give you all of the other stuff that you see in actors. And I went with Steve Martin for Kermit.
Absolutely. Got the banjo going.
That was the first one, but you need to look a little closer for me. Because when it comes to Steve Martin as a comedian, he has the chops, obviously, to do all of the funny beats. He has the fatherly instinct with Cheaper by the Dozen to be with a group of people. The Muppets basically have made Kermit the father of that group. As well, all of his ability to just be so versatile, whether it's The Jerk, whether it's any of the other films that he's been in, or Saturday Night Live even. He's just very versatile with what he's able to do, and he's hosted many shows and has done a great job of that. Ooh, I'm nervous on this one. Why?
Well, no, you shouldn't be nervous.
Well, Steve Martin, my favorite thing he's ever done, and there's a lot of things I love about Steve Martin. Steve Martin is multi-talented. He's very bright, extremely cultured. I like the fact that if you meet him in real life, which I had a chance to do for a second, he gives you a business card that says, "I have met Steve Martin. I have found him to be a congenial and well-liked person," or something to that effect. He doesn't give autographs. But if you've ever seen him on the Carson Show do the Great Fly Dini, I recommend everybody go, since hopefully you're on YouTube watching this, when this is all over, go see him do his magic as the Great Fly Dini. He does all these magic tricks out of his zipper. It's fantastic. So let's move on to Valerie. That one's going to be tough because we got the banjo, we got the singer.
I'm already going to say he's going to get this point because it's a really good choice. And it's going to beat my choice, but I guess my cast, I always have to do something a little bit offbeat. That's just how I am. I'm a little bit offbeat, and I just hope that people will see my vision. And I did kind of want to go with not only the talent of Kermit, but also kind of looking at the stature of the characters as well and how they interact. And the one biggest thing about Kermit, other than his great personality and leadership, is the fact that he's also a little bit smaller. And even though he's smaller than everyone and it seems like he's overpowered by people, he is still very charming and he's still a leader. And that's why I chose Stanley Tucci.
I see now.
That's interesting.
It is interesting that you picked him, not because it is because he's a great actor and he's in all of the things you just said, but the main thing is his height, which I didn't quite get because I don't think Stanley Tucci's as short as people think he is.
Well, compared to who Miss Piggy is, he is who I picked for Miss Piggy. So Martin Short wouldn't go with my Miss Piggy. So.
Well, Stanley Tucci is, I call him here, he's impeccable.
Yes.
You know, whether he's doing Big Night, which he wrote and directed, or he's playing a crazy Graham Norton-esque character in The Hunger Games, or he's playing a sincere, sweet Austrian doctor in Captain America, The First Avenger, I think Stanley Tucci can do it all. I don't know if he can sing or dance, but we could probably...
He can. He may not be as good at it as Steve Martin, but he is totally sincere with it.
I have no doubt, because I think, again, I don't think there's anything Stanley Tucci can't do. He's amazing. So we've got really tough. This one's really tough. We've got Steve Martin. We've got Stanley Tucci. I was looking for a Steve Carell or even a John Krasinski type, because I like John Krasinski's deadpan looks that Kermit always gives to the camera. But I think Steve Carell has that niceness about him. But after talking to the other judges, the triad has decided that Steve Martin gets the point. So, Patrick, you are on the board with the first one. And, again, that was a close one. But I think Steve Martin has a little bit more of the showbiz, song and dance kind of thing that we're looking for with Kermit. Kermit can do all the stuff on a stage, and so can Steve Martin. Well, now we move on to Miss Piggy. And
That's a perfect picture.
ever.
Jeez. Wait, it got so nervous at first, and then that comes up.
well, Miss Piggy is a tough cookie to crack. I'll be honest with you that she is definitely overbearing, but we know that deep down she will do the right thing when she finally has to. So, Valerie, who do you have playing the bombastic drama queen, Miss Piggy?
So this one is my dark horse choice because I know that not a lot of people see this person as an actress, but if you know her and you follow her, you understand that I feel like Miss Piggy is her spirit animal. And I think she would be fantastic at this character. But as a woman, I think I probably know more about her than any of the males that would be looking at her as this character. But I stick with it. Chrissy Teigen should be Miss Piggy. She would be she is Miss Piggy. Like, she is sassy. She bosses John Legend around. She is total glam. Miss Piggy is not the best singer. She's not the best actress, but you want to be her friend. At the end of the day, no matter how rude she is, you think she's great. She's also from Delta, Utah. So I'm coming back to a little bit of like some Utah vibes here, but I am in love with Chrissy Teigen, and when I think of Miss Piggy, I think she could just knock it out of the park.
I am not aware of Chrissy Teigen too much other than her being social media, and so I don't know if she's as mean as Miss Piggy can be.
Oh, she is.
Okay, because I have seen her do the lip sync battle, and I'm aware of her from Deal or No Deal. Actually, she used to be along with Meghan
Markle.
Meghan Markle. I almost said Megan Mullally, who's I love more than Meghan Markle. Both were suitcase ladies on Deal or No Deal. So that is an interesting pick. I can go right away going that she seems to have everything you just said. She seems to have everything of the qualities. And I think if we were doing real life and not a movie where she's going to have to act like Miss Piggy, I think it might work. I think it might be a huge underdog. That's really well done. I know that I saw Patrick. His face dropped when you said that because
Well, check her Twitter. She is Miss Piggy.
But this is the thing, is like, I don't know that any of you guys or the judges know who she is, so I knew it was going to be a huge gamble with this choice, but I had to go with it because I just felt I immediately cast her when I saw that last week we had to do this cast. She was my first person that I picked.
That was a good choice.
Of course, all my buttons are going so slow that every time I try to get to you, it just shows Patrick staring at me.
Yeah, but I was shaking my head enthusigastically.
You were.
I
did a
knew what
great
was
job.
happening. I was in it.
That's a professional who knows he's on camera. So Patrick, this is going to be a tough one as well. Who do you have competing against Chrissy Teigen?
So I think I went the same way with Valerie. Like, you need to look at the Kermit and make sure that pairing is perfect between the two. And I've seen Catherine O'Hara be a part of Schitt's Creek. I've seen her in Orange County, and she has been Miss Piggy in every iteration. In Beetlejuice, as the tyrant mom that kind of is forcing all of the room and stuff, furniture to be moving, everything. I think Catherine O'Hara is maybe a choice that not many would think of. But when you see her and you've seen her in her roles, she's got the comedic chops. She can be mean, but also be funny at the same time. Anything that she's able to do in that style works well for, I think, a live-action Muppet. So I go with Catherine O'Hara for it.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Catherine O'Hara if you want comedy. She's funny in everything she does, and she does have range. She can do a lot of different types of comedy. My wife has been watching Schitt's Creek, and I guess her character's name is Moira, and she seems in that one like I want to say a passive-aggressive Miss Piggy. She's not as aggressive, but you can definitely, she still has the same shallowness, the same vanity as Miss Piggy. So, we have Chrissy Teigen, Catherine O'Hara. I thought of Kristen Chenoweth, because I know that she can play pompous, arrogant, self-absorbed, which is Miss Piggy, but also she's got the warmth and talent to overcome all of that as well. But after talking to our judges, Catherine O'Hara is our choice, and that is 2 points to Patrick. So Valerie has started to slowly lose a little bit of the grip on this particular semifinal, but there's still plenty of opportunities and plenty of characters to get that back, so don't fret. now we get to Fozzie Bear. Waka Waka.
The quick cuts to these Muppets make my day.
Yes, I know. I really had a lot of fun finding them. So and it was really difficult to find some of them isolated, almost because the Muppets are so much of a group. It's hard to find anybody but Miss Piggy and Kermit by themselves, or finding them from the Muppet Movie, because there's been so many iterations of Muppets that I can find you stuff from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but 1979, the Muppets, very difficult. So we've got Fozzie Bear, who I would call a failed open mic comedian. Patrick, who do you have filling the, he doesn't even wear shoes, filling in the floppy hat of our favorite comedian, Waka Waka? Winner chicken dinner. I might do Waka Waka chicken dinner if you can get this one.
Well, I went with a comedian. I don't think he's very failed. He's had a lot of success with Amazon and Netflix with his stand-up specials. I went with Jim Gaffigan. I think he also has acting abilities. If you've seen Super Troopers, Troop Zero, he's been involved in some new films lately, and showing that he has the ability to not just make you laugh, but also make you feel, maybe care about him a little more, care about the character, or be terrified of him. He's got a weird range. But I do know with a stand-up, with some of the jokes, it just, sometimes you don't think they should work because he's been talking about McDonald's for 5 hours, but it still works. Even the last joke makes me laugh. So I think that's the persona we're looking for Fozzie Bear, to kind of give you a feel like it's not working, but you're still laughing in the end.
Rock solid. Jim Gaffigan's new Pale Tourist was great. So you've got Jim Gaffigan. What do you've got going on there, Valerie?
I went with someone that I think is Fozzie Bear. Like, he has failed jokes all the time. He has awkward moments. He is incredibly hairy as well. And I went with Seth Rogen.
Absolutely. That's why I picked this particular picture of him.
But like, he does have that like awkward, he does like have that awkwardness about him where you still feel for him, but he's super funny, but he does have failed jokes, but you still want to be his friend. He is very endearing. He is very hairy. So I think he fits.
Yeah. And he used to do stand up, and the thing that bothers me is when he's doing interviews, he laughs so much, and he's got such a weird, uncomfortable laugh that it's almost like he's drowning in his own phlegm laughing. But I could easily see both of these. So we've got the great Jim Gaffigan, who's a fantastic stand-up. We've got Seth Rogen, who is a failed stand-up, but a good comedic actor. I was looking for a Zach Galifianakis type, because he's also big and hairy. So that might be a key into what's going on here, because we all pick Seth Rogen. So,
yay, the hairy wins!
I think if you did a face mash of Jim and Seth, you'd get Zach.
Yes.
And let's make that happen.
And I think the fact that Jim Gaffigan is a very successful comedian might have went against you in this one, Patrick, because I couldn't see him standing up there doing bad. Yeah.
Hot pockets.
So we got Valerie with 1, Patrick with 2. We still got plenty more to go as we get to probably the strangest one of all, but the reason why I picked him is because he's actually quite important in the movie, the Muppet Movie, and that is Dr. Teeth, and he's part of the Electric Orchestra, or the Electric Band, or whatever they are. So let's start with Valerie. Valerie, who have you decided is going to make a good band leader?
Dr. Teeth is all about being strange, but also being that really artsy kind of person that you know is weird, but not too weird. So you still want to like hang out with him. And he's got a look. He definitely is a person that when you see him, you know exactly who he is. And I think that's the same with John Malkovich. He has got the teeth. He's got the strange look. He, with a beard, and there are pictures of him with beards out there and a hat on. He could totally be Dr. Teeth all the way.
Well, I forget that Dr. Teeth has that Abraham Lincoln beard, so I didn't even think about the beard part. But if you've watched Space Force, he has a scene where he's playing the piano and singing.
Yes.
And that he would fit that perfectly, because he is an odd duck. There is no doubt about that. John Malkovich, known for being John Malkovich. If you just tell people who's John Malkovich, even my mom, who knows nobody, knows who John Malkovich is. And that's difficult to achieve as a character actor. He's a fantastic. So Patrick, John Malkovich, what you got to go up against the big man?
Man, I think we've been similar up until now, but whoa, this is going to be a different one. I went with Eddie Murphy for Dr. Teeth. I think Eddie Murphy, first of all, from Dolomite Is My Name to his SNL career to all of his characters that he's been able to portray, and knowing that he also has some music ability.
No, he's got more than that. He had a full album.
Yeah.
You're not old enough to remember us having to listen to Michael to listen to him do his
I
album.
wasn't around to listen to it, but I have been around to Google it. And that's what I ended up doing with this one. But yes, I really think that Eddie Murphy not only can work alongside all of the rest of my cast very well, I think he's got the comedic chops. He has the kind of craziness the spontaneity that you don't really expect from a character that he can bring in. And Eddie Murphy is he's due for a comeback, and this is a great role. Put him in.
Also, I think if you put a gold tooth on him, he'd look amazing.
I think he's done that before.
I think he has too. I mean, he's just so. Yeah, I can tell out your age because you said Cheaper by the Dozen and not Father of the Bride. So I already can tell.
I knew it.
You're already old. But Valerie's got the great John Malkovich. Patrick Beatty's got superstar Eddie Murphy. For some reason, I was thinking John C. Reilly.
Oh, yeah.
I could just see him with the hat and the laid-back attitude because it's very zen. Yeah. But after talking to everybody, I was actually outvoted, and Patrick Beatty, Eddie Murphy gets the thing. I wanted John Malkovich, Valerie, but I think Eddie Murphy would still do great.
I thought that was going to you. And even like when you were describing him, I thought it was going to be Childish Gambino or something. I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. John Malkovich blew me like...
Eddie Murphy was a good choice.
Well, let's get on to another favorite. You want to talk about weird? I don't even know what Gonzo is. Did we establish that he's an alien? I think there was a movie, Muppets in Space. Didn't they come down and pick him up or something like that?
I think it was implied, but I don't think like it's still been said for sure.
I want to think that he is some lab experiment gotten loose, and he is still Earthling because I just love him. He is a connoisseur of chickens, not how they taste, but in the biblical way. Let me say, he really likes the chickens, and so we go with Patrick. Patrick, who do you have playing the weird Gonzo?
For Gonzo, I went with somebody that I know can handle doing some stunts, doing some craziness, and also still having the comedic chops, and maybe having some issues with chickens too. I went with Andy Samberg for this. If you think of Hot Rod, you think Gonzo a little bit. Like some of the stuff that he's doing in that is right there next to it. His comedic chops, his ability to really be serious in some moments, like with some of his quieter films. Palm Springs is another good example where he is funny, but it's a little bit more nuanced with it. And if you've seen his one of the roasts where he came on to roast somebody, half of it is just talking about Kenny Rogers chickens and roasting chickens, and I'm going to roast you chickens. And is this a barista? Because this roast just got dark. Like all kinds of silly stuff. And I just believe that if anybody could inhabit the character of Gonzo, it could be Andy.
I believe the other half of those jokes were not mean. They were the exact opposite, where he was trying to be mean, and all he could say was wonderfully nice things.
It was the coolest. If you haven't seen this, please watch it. It's so fun.
Well, Valerie, I've even got him dressed like Gonzo. That was just coincidence. Who do you have playing the great Gonzo?
That's a good choice. So again, this one, I went with dark horses. Andy Samberg is a great choice, but I went with something a little bit different. This actor, to me, I think doesn't get enough credit for how funny he is in a very Gonzo way, because I feel like Gonzo to me is very strange, but at the same time, we all relate to his weirdness. But he also knows how to tell a good story in a very roundabout way. He never tells us a direct way into a story. So the character and the character actor that I thought of was Michael Pena. And when you see him in Ant-Man, and he is kind of just this quiet comedian who is an odd duck, but is funny, racing in these cars. He never gets to the point. He has all these weird characters around him that just, they just come to him. Michael Pena to me is somebody who we don't give enough credit to, and I think him as Gonzo would be incredible.
Well, he's fantastic, and he's like Gonzo is how we all are when we're socially awkward, except we don't recognize it. Like he doesn't get bashful after he says something weird and stupid like the rest of us would, and that's what we love about him, because he'll say really crazy weird things that we all would say, except we would all immediately go, oh my god, why am I saying this, shut up. And he's just living his life. He's living that Gonzo life. I think Michael Pena's a great one. So we've got Andy Samberg, Michael Pena. I wanted a Sam Rockwell type. I think Sam Rockwell can be really bizarre when he really wants to be. But the triad has spoken. Andy Samberg. And with that, Patrick takes a fairly large lead at 4-1, but still not mathematically eliminated. You can still win this if you get back-to-back. Well, actually, let's see. I think you still can get up to 4 points. So there's still 4 points on the board. So this game is not over. Now we get to Ralph. Ralph is also one of my favorites because he is very sage-like. He is not wild and wacky. He's just kind of the piano player. He's real low-key and just kind of doles out. He's like the most sane of all of them, except when he barks at things that go by. So we're going to start with Valerie. Valerie, who do you have playing the wonderful dog Ralph?
So for me, I love Ralph the dog. I feel like he's kind of that character that you see in a movie that, like you said, everybody's kind of running around crazy, and he's just kind of chilling in his hat or at the piano singing. And, you know, he's got a couple of little like jokes and digs here and there that he sticks in there. And he doesn't talk when he doesn't have to, but when he does, they're zingers. And for me, that's Cedric the Entertainer. You know, I just picture him in his hat sitting there all chill back there looking amazing. He already, you know, and he doesn't have to say much to be cool, but then when he does say something, you're like, okay. So I feel like Cedric the Entertainer is this character.
Oh, he'd be perfect, especially the hat. You get him with the hat.
Yeah.
My wife watches the show that he's in. It's something called Neighbors, I think, or The Neighborhood. And he's really good in that because he's just kind of playing himself. But he's willing to make himself look stupid, making himself the butt of the jokes, and not everybody's willing to do that. And that's why Cedric, I think, is a really good choice. Patrick, who do you have?
Cedric's a great choice, yeah. I would say mine is more of the dark horse choice, if this were the pick for this. I went with John Mulaney, which is not that. I think that John Mulaney has not had a lot of opportunities to be in a big film. He was, of course, Spider-Pig and Into the Spider-Verse, and he's been in certain stuff. He was on Broadway with Oh Hello, and with his podcast, with his stand-up shows. You can see that he definitely has that stature of being somebody that is under like calm, cool conditions, you know? He's always in a nice suit. He's never sweating through everything. And most of his jokes seem a little more self-deprecating than anything. So I think he would be a good choice to be able to be there. I just think he needs to start learning to play the piano, and that might make it perfect. So that's my pick, John Mulaney.
Okay, I'm not sure I agree with any of that, except he's funny.
Right?
But okay.
Hey, you got to make it. You fake it till you make it.
That's all right. So we have Cedric the Entertainer against John Mulaney. Now, I think this might be a little stumble for you, because I was thinking like a Forrest Whitaker, because Forrest Whitaker, who has played a musician before, again, has that cool, it's a very much of a jazz vibe where he's just going to be zen, dole out the advice, and then play a couple tunes when he needs to be. And so with this one, we go with Cedric, and that gives Valerie 2 points. So
that was a good pick.
If this next one is a chicken winner dinner, which it very well could be, then you could go into a tie game. So this game is not over, down to the very end, with the hardest one of all, animal. We don't know what kind of animal he is. In fact, I couldn't find an isolated picture of this. Is from the new Muppets movie, which I love because all he does is go in control. He's just trying to anger management, just anger management. So we go with Patrick. Patrick,
yes. Who
do you have playing the drummer who is all about women, and rock and roll? I mean, he is just an animal.
He is an animal, and I went with somebody that has the energy that can carry the charisma of Animal, and I went with Daveed Diggs, Lafayette, because of his character of Lafayette in Hamilton.
I went with Prima Donna Jefferson. Because he does both.
Say it again. But specifically with the character arc of him being the more silent, not so much like confident in his words and the things that he's able to say so eloquently. Now, by the end, he's spitting out so many rhymes in such a quick succession. And you see that he's confident in his role, and the way that he's able to just steal the whole stage from everybody the minute he starts going. That's what Animal needs to bring. He needs to, the minute he shows up, he needs to take away from everybody, basically, because Animal is a one-man show in his head. So I go with Daveed Diggs.
Now, have you seen the original Muppet Movie from 1979, Patrick?
Are you putting me on the...
You can say no. It's okay. It was born 20 years before you were born, I think.
That was the year I was born, actually.
Well, if you remember, since you didn't see it, if you remember, at the end of that movie, Animal turns into a 50-foot person. So I can only imagine Daveed Diggs stomping through as a 50-foot person. So that's, I think it's the hair. I think you just really like, he's got the animal hair going.
Well, and I think you should also, if anybody hasn't seen Blind Spotting, please go watch Blind Spotting, especially for the time right now. He's incredible in that, especially in the ending. Like he's, oh my God, it's so good. That was my pick though.
Well, Valerie?
That was a really good choice. And that was probably what totally did me in right there. But I'm standing by my choice. I picked this person because, one, I've met him in person, and he is so much fun, bigger than life, running down Main Street in Park City during Sundance with me, taking selfies, and but he also is a great musician, a great actor, really funny. I follow him on social media. During the quarantine, I feel like he's turned into Animal, and so I'm going with Quarantine Jack Black.
Well, I again, he's got the rock and roll down.
Tenacious D, man.
This is so much closer than you think, Valerie. Holy cow.
Yeah, Tenacious D, School of Rock. So we've got that taken care of. We know we can do the instrumental part. And yes, he is what we call batshit. So he can run around and do it all. And especially since now, you're right. I picked this picture specifically because that's how he looks now. He has animaled out. So let's go take a look. He
dances in his underwear in his backyard to try and raise awareness for people to wear masks. So he's got my vote, man.
Well, we've got Daveed Diggs, we've got Jack Black, and the Triad has picked Jack Black. Now, did I pick Jack Black? I'm going to have to say I went with the craziest MFer I could find in the history of cinema. And I don't even know if Patrick knows who this is, but
oh man,
it's Klaus Kinski. If you know who Klaus Kinski is, he is absolutely crazy with Werner Herzog. He just is the embodiment of Animal. But Jack Black is so close. But unfortunately, Valerie, and fortunately for you, Patrick, you are today's winner. You are going to the very first ever championship game, and yes, by the skin of your teeth. This was not easy.
This close. Yeah. Holy cow, that was such a. I'm so sweaty. Everything is just a puddle right now. Valerie, thank you. This was such a
good job, Patrick.
I owe it to you.
Oh.
Good job, Patrick.
So, Patrick, as always, what is your final thought for today?
I'm gonna take a shower now after this. I'm very, very grateful that you again let me come on to do this. And
well, you've earned it this time. I didn't let you come on. You beat people to come on. Well, I was actively rooting against you.
And I'm excited to. Yeah, I did not think I'd get this far, so I'm excited to get to the finals and let's go.
Well, that makes two of us. We didn't know this. I think this is the final bracket buster, as Valerie has destroyed two more brackets that we had going. But next week, you will be fighting against one of these two men, either Randy or Tracy. Let me get back here. Hold on. Right at the end. I'm always doing it.
And if it's Tracy and me, Valerie, who are you going to choose?
Well, no, let's not worry about that yet. We'll worry about that if it happens. Of the two, now you know Tracy, and have you played against Randy, Patrick?
I haven't. I don't think so.
I don't think Valerie has either. It's just Tracy you guys have. So this is going to be completely
I have. I've played against Randy, I thought.
Oh, okay.
No?
Well,
Maybe not. I don't know.
Randy kind of took Luke Hunsaker to the shed with a nice 5-2 beating in Game 3, where Tracy decimated Brian Huanawato in Game 4. This one is going to be tough because you think Muppets are difficult. Wait till you see what they've got to go against. They have to recast in adult form South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Whoa.
I do not
Good
want
luck,
one
you two.
child actor. You cannot
Good luck, you two.
do one child actor. You're going to have to replace them with adults. And we've got a couple adults you're going to replace. I think this is going to be a little harder than the Muppets. Because at least the Muppets have likable characters. South Park is just a bunch of people doing awful things to each other.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So if you like us, you can follow us on Twitter at Matinee Heroes. You can go on twitch.tv/Matinee Heroes. You can join the Facebook group and get updates on Matinee Heroes. And of course, if you want to join the YouTube, we still haven't got the Magic 50 yet, but someday, if we hope and pray, it's the little podcast that could, we will get our own custom URL. But right now, matineeheroes.com/castoff, that'll get you to the YouTube channel. So, on behalf of the wonderful and talented Valerie, thank you so much, Valerie, for coming on. You've been fantastic.
Thank you. Good job, Patrick.
I want to thank Valerie because Valerie was the first person I asked because I knew that she was like, yes. And she was the one that brought me Patrick. So this is your own damn fault, Valerie.
Which way do I look
know.
for her? This way.
And so
you know what? You've gotta surround yourself with good people, and if they become better than you, you've done the right thing.
Well,
I wouldn't say that's the case.
This one
just beat me. You just beat me. So take a bow.
Into my teeth. It's like when you see two Titans clash. It's like, I mean, I don't know who won. I just don't want them to fight anymore.
Well, Patrick, we will see you on a very special day. That is August 23rd. It just happens to be the birthday of Valerie and myself. So hopefully you'll definitely make it there it's a Sunday night. It's a special. We're going to be spending a week and a half, 2 weeks hyping this crap out of it. So hopefully it'll be like the Super Bowl. So hopefully you'll sweat even more. So bring a towel. We'll see you August 23rd. For the rest of you, we will see you August 11th as we face up with Randy and Tracy on Game 2 of the semifinals. And for that, on behalf of Valerie, on Patrick, I'm Craig Price. Thank you guys so much for watching the CastOFF.
You keep pointing the wrong way.
I know.